right, good morning. Thanks for joining us at 9. I'm Haley Hernandez here with Justin Stapleton, taking a look at those storms behind you, Justin.
Yeah, it's one of these where, sometimes Mother Nature decides she's just going to up her timetable a few hours, and that's exactly what we saw today. So we expected to see some storms probably about 9, 10 o'clock. They got going about 7, 8 this morning, and here we go. Now, the good news is if this blows early, our Topo Chicos pop, we may be looking at a much better afternoon, so we'll certainly take it. Okay, a couple of different clusters. I want to start on the north side here. This is where we're looking at some difficulty, at least in some spots. And again, none of this is super heavy, but enough that it's going to inconvenience you if you get caught in it, including up for our friends near Cold Spring, near 156. And then as you get over from Shepherd on down towards Cleveland, we slide in a little tighter on that. Nice little downpour right outside of Cleveland as it meets up with 105. And then same story down towards Plum Grove. And then we're looking at some pretty heavy rain here just south of Woodlock, right across 99. So that's some of those neighborhoods there as you get just to the west of Grogan's Mill, for example, right? All right, back over towards the west. This is some of the spots where we could be looking at some more heavy rain. Northampton, right outside of Magnolia and Stagecoach. So that's 249. That's the Tomball Parkway down towards Charterwood. Looking at some pretty heavy storms and some pretty good rain here from Cypress out towards Hempstead and Pine Island. This was a storm that we were watching that had a potential to drop some pea-sized hail within the last about hour or so. It looks like that's kind of collapsed. And actually, what I think's happened is it got closer up to some of these storms that were on the north side. They just kind of slammed into each other, right? In fact, if we take the storm tracker, put it in the motion here over the last hour, that's about what we'll likely see with that. They both just kind of went, see these forming, and then just wham, they just kind of whack into each other, right? And so that's going to be one of the issues. Now, further to the south, the storms around much of the metro have collapsed. That's the good news. But notice in its wake, we have that green box. And you say, well, what green box? What is this? This green box right here. This is what's called an aerial flood advisory. That goes until 11:45. And that's because some of the spots that we've seen here, especially as you get down towards areas around Friendswood, you saw where Brittany Jeffers was a second ago. They were headed down 45, running into some pretty heavy rain. They've picked up between about 3/4 to an inch of rain in about 30 minutes. So while the main roads can handle that much, some of the side streets probably are running into a little bit of issues. Speaking of issues, we're still seeing some real heavy rain on the south side here from right outside of Manville towards Hillcrest. That's down Highway 35 from Danbury over to Liverpool, over towards Bonnie, 288 to Holiday Lakes, down to Angleton. Right about when we said, folks, in Angleton, we're going to see some of this heavy rain. Now, as we get into the afternoon, most of this heavy stuff that you see just offshore should move away from us. But I do think that as we get rolling through the rest of our morning and into the afternoon, notice back off to the west where we were looking at some of the heavier rain this morning, it's all cleared out. So this may be what we're dealing with as we go into the next 1 to 2 hours here. So let me show you how much rain we've picked up. And this is with our partnership over at Harris County Flood Control. This is within the last hour. The street flood threat is fairly low. So right around Friendswood there, notice it's anywhere between about 3/4 to just over an inch. And that's over towards the creeks, right outside of 45. Now, as we slide off to the west, notice we're picking up some more intense rainfall rates, right? So just south of Bel Air, moving over towards Meadows Place, right outside of Sugarland. I know the numbers are getting squished together, but you get the idea. And these are all the different reporting stations. So right outside of Sugarland, we've picked up between about almost an inch to an inch and a half in just about the last hour. And so those are the spots we're going to be watching very carefully. So anywhere across Highway 6 as you get towards the Beltway, pushing its way back northward as you go right outside of Sharpstown here. These are spots. The main road should be okay. They'll be slick and wet, but it's those side roads, the feeders in particular, Brittany, that we may need to watch out for. Let's get over to Brittany Bagley.